all my networkers and connectors. We are on here. Let's go.
You know, he challenged me. He said, you should meet 2 or 3 people every day.
We're talking about how to level up on LinkedIn and engagement. Being the go-giver, the idea that being open to opportunity.
We all deal with challenges, but how do you overcome that?
Master Connector with Steve Spiro and Cameron Toth is live on air.
Oh, yes. And we are with the amazing Ramon Ray today. Get ready. Buckle your seatbelts. You're on the energy bus with us, and we're really excited about it. I met Ramon Ray quite a while back. He was on a stage in Atlantic City, and since that day, I have been a follower, a fanatic, somebody that is excited. Whenever I see Ramon's name, I know that 1, there's going to be energy, but 2, and more importantly, there's going to be value. He delivers value in a tremendous way and constantly. And so we're going to talk about that energy and how he provides that in so many different ways. Steve, get us started on this topic today. The master connector himself, Steve Spiro.
What's going on, friends? Steve Spiro, the Master Connector, coming at you live and direct here. And thank you, Cameron. You're amazing, sir. Appreciate all that you do, and appreciate your community being on here. Yeah, so like Cameron said, we're connectors here. We're master connectors. All of us are master connectors. So get in the comments. First of all, tell us where you're from. You're tuning in from. We want to know. We want to know what city, what state, what country. We get people from all over the globe. Pretty soon we'll be getting people from Mars when they go over there. You know, but we're all over. We're global. We're universal, I guess is the word, right? But anyway, yeah, definitely want to hear from you. And then get in the comments, you know, connect with each other. Make sure this is a place, this is a safe space. We want you to connect with each other. So we're going to have a blast today. Bring your energy. If you don't have energy, you're going to come away with this show with incredible energy. Glad you're on the bus with us. We're excited. But I want to kick us off with just some thoughts here, right? So what kind of energy do you bring to the table? You know, whether it be a project, a company you work for, or work, you know, in, or an event. You know, I know Cameron does a lot in the event industry, right? Or just a phone call or a Zoom call, right? Are you a thermometer or your thermostat, right? Do you detect the temperature or do you determine the temperature, right? Do you base your energy on the room or do you create it, okay? And for those of us who are pretty low key by nature, that's me, sometimes you have to manufacture it and, you know, manufacture that energy. And, you know, if you notice, I have my coming at you live and direct, right? That's on purpose. I use that to set the tone for myself. And I do that almost everywhere. I do it on networking calls. I do it everywhere. And it forces me to bring the energy, right? Because by default, I am low energy. But the irony is people, after they hear me speak, this is the crazy part. They're like, Steve, I love your energy. I'm like, okay, go figure, huh? Right? I mean, who would have thought? Who'd have thunk, right? But it's not always what you say, right? But it's that people need to really feel you, right? It's not the content of your words. It's the feeling. It's the emotion that they get from you. And we're going to have a blast today. And so one of the reasons I prefer being in person, and when I do my speaking gigs, right, I prefer that in person because you can really feel the people and they could really feel my energy, right? It's a lot better than Zoom. Now I'll do Zoom stuff, but I really prefer in person. I know Ramon has done a ton of on stage stuff as well. And I know he could relate to this. So one of the things that that impressed me is that with Ramon is that you could really feel this man's passion. He's known for being, the unapologetically positive, passionate person. So if you're ready, I'm going to have my man, Cameron, introduce our guest here today. And so if you're ready, type in #BringIt. And I'm going to have my man, Cameron Toth, come to the stage and bring Ramon up here. So appreciate you, sir. Excited for today's show.
I love it. And Parker Reynolds here getting into it. He says, bring the energy from Columbus, Ohio. Yolanda's checking in from Frisco, Texas. We got Marcus Garner checking in from Fremont, California. We appreciate you. Do not be a LinkedIn lurker. Get in there. Let us know. We want you networking in the comments. Anna Nowak, she's in the comments. Oh, man, we appreciate you all. All right, my man, Ramon Ray. Ramon Ray is unapologetically positive and passionate about making the world a better place. He's a 5-time serial entrepreneur who has sold 3 companies and authored 5 books. Ramon's the publisher of zoneofgenius.com, which helps small business owners live life fulfilled. He's an in-demand expert on small business success and a sought-after motivational speaker and event host. Ramon's interviewed all 5 Shark Tank sharks and President Obama. He shared the stage with Simon Sinek, Seth Godin, Gary Vaynerchuk, and other notable business leaders. Ramon's latest book, Celebrity CEO, is all about how entrepreneurs can leverage the power of personal branding. Please welcome to the stage the driver of the energy bus himself, Mr. Ramon Ray.
Hey, Cameron, thanks for having me. Steve, thanks for having me. Appreciate being on y'all's show. What's going on?
We're excited about it too. So, Steve, get us started with this first question here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and Ramon, I know where you from and where you tuning in from. I know you're 2 different spots, right?
Sure. Hey, Yolanda. Good to have Yolanda here and others here. John is here. Steven is here. T is here. Everybody, I think, are fans of the Master Connector, I think. A few of the fans are also with Cameron's fans, too. But it looks like you have a big fan base here, Steve. But yeah, I'm right now in Dallas, getting ready to attend the Champions Business Conference Thursday and Friday. So I'm in Dallas right now where it's beautiful, beautiful weather. And my residence is near New York City in New Jersey. So that's a little bit about me, where I'm from. I've been married 28 years and got 2 amazing adult children. That's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. Now I know why the y'all, because you're in Texas, right? You're
in
the state of Texas, so you have to go with the y'all there, right?
The moment I flew in, it's like I was on the plane, Steve. It was amazing. I was on a plane. I was saying, hello, everyone. How are you all today? Are you doing good? And then I just felt like I shook. Like the moment I crossed into Texas, the airplane, everything changed. It was amazing.
I only spent Christmases in Missouri with my parents, but let somebody start just getting a little bit of any kind of Southern drawl and just immediately, are you from the Midwest? No, I grew up in New York City and Southern California. Yeah, but it comes out.
That's right.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Texas is a cool state, the great state of Texas, right? The great country of Texas, right? Every year they're looking to do some stuff, but we won't go there. But anyway, hey, we want to dig in here. And so, listen, we know I know you shared the stage with Simon Sinek. He wrote a bunch of good books, but one of them being It Starts With Why, or Start With Why, right? And so we want to talk about why. And so right now, community, and by the way, Parker and all the people, we appreciate y'all being on here. Y'all, see, you got me. You got it. We're in Texas with you, but we want you to type in. We want you to type in why, #why. But here's the question we want to ask, right? Ramon, why are you so unapologetically positive and passionate? Were you born that way, right? Because people want to know. I mean, listen, I wasn't that way, right? I'm a low-key guy, right? So tell us a little bit about your journey and how you became that, or maybe you came out of the womb like that. I don't know.
I think, Steve, you hit the nail on the head. And as you said, Steve, yourself, right? We're all, God gives us all genes and how we're born with. And I think that's how I was born. I think I'm over-indexed to be positive. I don't think it's something you can be trained. I don't think it's something you learn necessarily, but I do happen to be a grateful person. I do happen to be a person that sees the glass half full. I do happen to be the person that loves taking advantage of opportunities. Like, I broke my leg. Great. I get priority seating. Oh, I'm late for the train? Great. Steve and Cameron get to speak first because I'm late, or whatever the incident may be. So that's how I tend to be. I don't take myself too seriously. As I heard somebody else say, I do take my work seriously, right? I'm here. I want to set up. I got my lights. I got my microphone and things of this nature. But myself, listen, I got ketchup on my shirt. It's okay. It's okay. We keep moving. So that is a bit how I am. Just I think that positivity is infectious. I think that smile and how you bring it, other people appreciate that too. And last thing I'll say, Stephen Cameron, sometimes you got to be careful. Like early in the morning, I'm with my wife and, hey, Ronnie, good morning. Ramon, stop. Stop, Ramon. It's 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. I'm not you. You're not me, boo. Chill.
Love that.
Yeah, you got to be careful with my teenager kids. Same reaction. Why you? No.
You know, it's interesting, right? So you got a good point. And obviously in the world of business, to a degree personal too, but I heard about the technique of mirroring, right? You mirror and match people's tone, tempo, and volume, right? And so yes, there's a point you could bring that energy, but also you got to read the room. You got to see who's the audience, and you know, sometimes tone it back, tone it up a little bit, depending upon the scenario. So I respect that, right? It's not all one speed. Sometimes you got to, you know, bring the clutch down to a lower, you know, gear or whatever, right? So you can slow things down.
And Stephen, just one thing I realized when we see in the stream here, the little paper clip, that means these are my people, quote unquote. Oh, there's Ramon Ray fans here too. I didn't realize that. I'm sorry. I get sidetracked and distracted very easily. What's up, Stephen? What's up, T? Continue on, Steve.
That's awesome.
I'm just,
well, we're glad we're simulcasting on your stream too. So that's great. So
that's nice.
That's awesome. So, but we appreciate everybody, and make sure, listen, we've got some cross-pollination going. So let's get our networks, you know, talking with each other and connecting with each other, right? It's the Master Connector Show.
Incredible opportunity to connect with some folks you don't know, right?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it. So listen, you know, you heard in the intro video, and it was fun producing that. And, you know, as it says, you know, we all deal with challenges, right? We all have obstacles. And one of the pillars, we have 4 pillars of our show. One of those pillars is having the grit to overcome obstacles. So curious for you, because I know, you know, life is not just a straight line. There's a bunch of bumps and, you know, along the way. And it's like the stock market, right? Up and down all the way, right? So Ramon, and so ready, type in #obstacles community. We want you participating, right? We're not lurkers. We're LinkedIn participants. So get in there, type in obstacles, #obstacles. But yeah, what kind of obstacles have you had and overcome to achieve the kind of successes that you've seen? I mean, obviously 5-time author, and, you know, stages with incredible people, yourself, you know, all the things you've done. Tell us about the obstacles that you've overcome, if you could, sir.
Yeah, sure. I think a few things. And I think obstacles, of course, are relative. I know people, Steve, as you know, that have had jacked up lives, severe abuse, severe malnutrition, severe, you know, I know I have a community I'm with, father, you know, punching them repeatedly as a kid. So I didn't go through any of that by God's grace. But I think the obstacles I think I can face, for example, one particular incident, I can remember being fired from the United Nations. Now, that was half of my own doing. I had a side business, which is against UN rules, but I had permission, Stephen Cameron, to have it. I had permission. The permission was revoked. And then, Stephen Cameron, you guys probably don't know anybody like this. There was that jealous person, that person, you know, that person in the office. You're kind of watching them with your side eye. And when the right moment, they pounce and make your life miserable. So I had that incident. Eventually, I was fired. My contract wasn't renewed. So that was an interesting period of my life, to be no income, to be fired. I'm sure half the audience understands some degree of that, right? We've all gone through COVID, and having to overcome that. And I think that was where I birthed, just realizing that the side hustle of Ramon, where you have that steady check, that had to change overnight when I was thrust into full-time entrepreneurship. So that was one incident for sure that I can think of. And other things, I think more so just that persistence, the desire to constantly fail forward, as I get from my friend Christina Howard, who probably gets it from others. So those 2 things, is that helpful, Steve?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Steve, let me jump in here. I was just going to say, when you got fired from the UN, did you throw a fit, and did you yell at everybody and curse everybody out and burn every bridge possible?
No. But I did. Well, some of those words I did inside, you know, the panic, the anxiousness, being a sole income family. There's some academic word people say, cute words people say, but sole breadwinner is what I'm looking for.
Primary income producer.
Primary sole breadwinner, income producer. So being in that situation, a little more pressure, you know, that only you, but some anxiousness, you know, a few. And I think, Cameron, that goes back to, you know, if I spill this bottle of water on me, beyond being embarrassed and pretending to Cameron and Stephen that everything's fine, but you know, you have a moment of, oh man, that sucks. I'm down. I'm feeling. I think we're human. You got to own that. But then I think, as I call it, what do ballers do? People like Steve, people like Cameron. What do we hopefully do by God's grace? We have to move on. So yes, Cameron, I had those bits of time where this sucks. That guy's terrible, but you have to quickly move on. You can't keep living back there. Those people, they did it. Today is a brand new day, and that's how I choose to live my life.
And one of the things that I sort of bring up with that, because, you know, whether it's a business deal that goes sour, or whether it's somebody that, you don't agree with politically. And I had this situation, actually, I'm in the moment with that. Right. So I got, an organization that's connected to somebody politically that I don't necessarily agree with. And my first initial reaction was be like, no, I don't want to do business with you, but I serve a larger purpose. And so if there's business that can come my way, and as long as everybody's respectful, and as long as the bill gets paid, and I can pay my staff, I got to be cognizant of the impact that it can have. Part of my story, hospitality story, is getting fired from being, if you can imagine me, and I know you love security and Secret Service, Ramon,
Yes,
right? Yeah. Right. But if you can imagine me as a security guard, 5'8", skinny white guy, in a bar mitzvah situation, but I got fired from that role. And it was really a sort of a really good, give credit where credit is due to my parents and everything. I didn't handle it badly. I didn't go off the handle. And years later, I ended up not only working with them, but captaining events, managing events. And then later on, they're a big client of mine, and I send out staff to them. And so those relationships, I feel like, are really key, because you never know, right, with somebody that you're working with that you may not agree with, that you may not love. And even some of the people, I had another point in my career where I was working with somebody, and they were kind of like that, jealous and, just kind of doing what they were doing. But years later, they kind of refer me for stuff now. I never threw anybody under the bus. You always know what you can get. I think that's our next question, right?
Before we get to that next question, I want to just throw in real quick, listen, I think one thing is how you handle it, and handling it with grace, right? I think the other thing is, what can you learn from it, right? So, we know that whatever doesn't kill us makes us stronger. That's my mindset, right? And you're either winning or you're learning, right? And so these the cliches, but they're truisms, right? But also, I don't know if you guys have done this in your life. I know I have. When I have had maybe some injustices, like I was bullied as a kid, I turned that into motivation. I use that to kind of motivate me, and I get revenge in the success that I take. So it's quiet revenge, right? It's not like overt revenge. I'm not trying to be, nasty to them, right? And I try not to have any kind of resentment, because I heard resentment is like drinking poison yourself, trying to poison someone else. So you got to make sure you're not doing that. But definitely just taking that and using that hurt and rechanneling it into success, right?
That's so true. You're right. I mean, you have to use it as fuel, because you're right. If you don't, Steve, what's the alternative? If you don't use that as fuel, I think the only alternative is that you use it, you're sucky with it, you're down with it, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So I think that's the only alternative.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So we're going to get into the next topic, which is sort of shifting gears a little bit. And you've created an incredible personal brand, like Cameron. I mean, I'm also a fan, and admire what you do. Brand. So we're going to talk about brand. So #brand community, put that in the hashtag. And that includes Ramon Ray's community too. We want you to get in there as well. I know you haven't, so appreciate you guys. But so you have a new book, right? Celebrity CEO, where you speak about leveraging the power of personal brand. Can you tell us more about the power of branding?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer, Steve. Take your own brand, for example, Steve, Master Connector, and what Camera's doing, right? I'm a firm believer that we smaller businesses, the non-Cokes, non-Starbucks, non-Coca-Colas, non-United Airlines, non-Googles, non-big dogs in the world, smaller brands like us, I would like to think, no matter what we call ourselves, put the Inc., Steve LLC, Cameron and Sons Incorporated. We know it's us. Let's just stop pretending. There's few of us have a gleaming office tower building. So the personal brand's important. You own who you are, the smile, the look, the feel, how you say it, what you don't say, your God-given skills and talents. Whoever you are, you own that and use it as a leverage for your brand. Two things I say, Cameron. One, this celebrity CEO concept is get attention which can leverage to trust, and attention plus trust equals sales. Second thing, ask for a smile before you ask for a sale. That's the concept. Let me get to know Cameron a bit, and not in a weird way, but let me get to know him honestly and understand him. Then I have the right to ask for the sale, and not in this short conversation, but, over time. That's number 2. And the third point, build a community of fans to nurture to a sale, because it's kind of the same thing there. But the point is, I believe in sales, and I'm sure you've had podcasts on sales and et cetera. But for Ramon, yes, it's that personal brand. Just be my fan. Let me get to know you. Just be a follower. Be in my email newsletter. Like me on social. Over time, out of 100 people, whatever the numbers are, I just need 3 or 4 people a week to be a client, as it were. So I dumped, I think, 57 different points on you, Steve and Cameron, but you guys are smart enough. I mean, hopefully one of those made sense.
It did. And I want to take a video. Maybe I'll get a caption of that video. And when I get pitch slapped with the P on LinkedIn all the time, I want to throw them back your video that said, "Hey, smile before you ask for the sale," right? Like
smile, right?
Like, what is this about? What happened to know you, like you, trust you before you want to do business with people? Right? It's crazy.
And be upfront, Cameron. I was going to say, Cameron, also be upfront about it. I'm sure we're pitching a lot, and I get it. To address people, you got to pitch. I want Cameron eventually to buy this water. Let's say, I get it, and let's assume he's a perfect target. He's the head of water buying for the Cameron Incorporated. Got it. Given. We all need to make money, but somehow I got to say, Cameron, I watched your posts, Cameron. Then I commented, Cameron, I like what you did, Cameron. I have kids too, and yes, he may know where it's going. But let me at least show my humanity. And Cameron, listen, appreciate some time. Could we get on the phone quick, Cameron? Or may I show you, Cameron? We got some water too. I know you buy water. Would that be cool with you? Now we can talk. I got you. So that's what I just wanted to.
No, I love that. And people can see that. We talk about it all the time. And Steve mentions it all the time. It's a lot more important, right, Steve, to be interested than interesting.
Correct.
Right. I think that
but
sums it all up in a nutshell, right? Move on.
Your first point, Ramon, was the interesting, right? What was the second piece of that? The interesting, and then
build it, get attention. People know you want to get attention, and then build trust. Once you build trust, then make a sale. And it's similar to, Steve, the book, The Like Switch by a counterintelligence FBI agent, talked about the long form when you're doing counterintelligence. Let's say Steve works for the enemy. All countries do it. And I'm trying to recruit him. Show up at the Starbucks. Don't even look him in the eye. Just show up. Next week, show up, and maybe I'm standing next to him. The next week, I'm at the counter. You know where I'm going. It's a long process they do. The good, the guys who are doing counterintelligence, where eventually I'm at Steve's home for Thanksgiving over a 5-year period. Now I can say, yo, Steve, buddy, could you sell me some state secrets going back to whatever the goal is in business?
No doubt. That's great. And listen, and having a feel to who you are is so important, right? So I'm in the business development world myself, and at least connecting on LinkedIn, and especially if you have some kind of brand on LinkedIn where people can get a feel for who you are, the more they understand you, the better they're going to want to do business with you. And I love that. Everything you touched on. That was the bunch of mic drop moments, big time, that you just threw at us there for sure. So we want to keep this going. We want to dig into a little bit on the how. Thank you, Cameron, for the mic drop moment there. For sure.
No sound effects, Cameron. Just a mic drop. No, like. We got to get.
We'll use yours.
I'll work on it for the next time for you, Ramon. There we go.
We got challenged by Ramon on that, so we got to get the sound.
I don't have it on mine either.
Yeah, it's a good idea though. Good idea, really good idea. So we want to hashtag how HOW, and we want to talk about how would you suggest someone who is a little, and this is a little bit maybe self-serving, this question,
sure, but
how would you suggest someone who's a little more low key, to prepare themselves to come to the table with passion and energy?
Yeah.
Right.
That's a great question.
How would you address that?
Yeah. 2 things I would say. I think, Steve, we all have to be who we are in fairness. So Ramon can never be Steve. And I'm getting to know you, Steve. I'm going to make some assumptions. And whatever I say, Cameron, just say it's a yes, or Steve, say it's a yes. Steve is, really smart.
Yes.
Very introspective.
Yes.
Deep thinker.
Yes.
And very strategic.
Yes.
There we go, right? So, and I want you to say the same thing, yes, about me, Cameron, please. Ramon move fast.
Yes.
May not think too deep, but he's like, yes, let's figure it out as we go along.
Yes.
What I'm trying to get at, thank you, Cameron. Well jumped. Well done, Cameron. What I'm trying to get at is that we're different people, Steve. So I'll answer the question, but I did want to underline it, that we are all different people.
We are.
That how our strengths are. But I get what you're saying. And I do think some pizzazz, some energy, that does go far to the initial attention, right? Like, okay, I don't know who I'm going to pick. This guy, I guess, take the mic, Ramon, which happens to be a lot. Thank God I do have stuff I can say. So I think that to those who are a bit more quiet, I think a few things I would say. I think one, and quiet's the wrong word, but I know what you're saying, Steve. I'm tracking with you here. But I think that one, understand who you are. Two, understand what you desire to be. I'm not going to be exactly like that, but let me learn. I could not sit so quietly back. You know what? When they said take the mic, okay, I'm not going to run in front of the room like Cameron or Ramon Ray do, but I am going to say, I'd like a question. You get what I mean? So that's where I would start, Steve, is that just make the small steps to do a bit more. In the same way, Steve, in the same way myself, when I'm in a room, I can easily, hopefully in a humble way, dominate the room because I'm always first. For example, when our pastor in church, Steve, when they get ready to ask for testimonies, Steve and Cameron, I know testimonies are coming. I'm like, why is everybody waiting? We know what's going to happen right now. By the time his heel is leaving the pulpit, Ramon's already in the stage. But I have to learn, you know what? There's hundreds of other people here. Let me wait, if you get what I'm getting at, and do it. So Steve, my challenge to you and encouragement, in the same way Steve may want to, be a bit more, let me be more this. I get it. Ramon could do that. So to answer it, my point is, I think one, be purposeful. Two, try to move just a bit faster in it. And three, maybe come to the table beforehand. Oh, here's a nice pithy thing that I can say. Where Ramon may, off the cuff, I flow best off the cuff. Preparation is hard for me. Steve may reverse that and say, okay, I know I'm going to be on this podcast. I know I'm going to be at this event. Here's what I could say. So is that a little helpful, Steve, or confusing? I don't know.
No, it's perfect. I want to just reflect off what you said. For years, Ramon, and you nailed me to the T, right? You got me. You read me right like a book, okay? Mm-hmm. But for years, I played the comparison game. I have several people in my life, including a mentor that is very charismatic. Has got incredible passion, and I felt insecure around that. I felt like inadequate. I felt like I didn't measure up, and it finally got peace with myself. I said, I'll be a second class that person, a first class me, right? That's the best way I could do it, and so I have learned, I can't bring the kind of passion that you do. I could bring, in fact,
it's different.
It's different. And my passion comes maybe through sincerity, maybe through heart and truth, right? It doesn't come through like tremendous energy. I have to manufacture that, but it's all valuable. I think the main thing is it's all different. It had different shapes and sizes. But the commonality is people feel you somehow, some way they feel you, like we talked about in the intro. So,
and Steve, may I add one more thing, Steve, to that point?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to say also the aspect is keep in mind people like me sometimes, Steve, we do envy people like you. You may not understand it because you're not me and I'm not you. But when I think, for example, I was at an event one time. See, there's trigger moments, and this is a trigger moment. I was at an event one time, Steve. And it may have been with Seth Godin or other, big name people like this. And they said something, Ramon, you're so full of energy. That's a common thing I said. Do you know, Steve, I got angry. I was depressed. I wanted to be the other guy who was smart because I heard the comments. Wow, what he said, it got us to think. Oh, his British accent with the. So I was going through and I saw the mind. And I realized, the Brene Brown I'm making up, whoever the thought leaders who are the Steve type, who I'm in the front row like, oh, I wish I could have been the deep thought TED talker person. But you get what I'm trying to get at, Steve. I'm mimicking how I see
I'll say
you.
this.
Yeah.
I'll say this because I go to Seth Godin. I love his books. Yeah. But if you said, we're going to go see this energetic keynote by Seth Godin, I don't know.
Yeah. But you get what I'm getting at, right, Steve?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that I'm seeing the Steves of my mind as we're playing this game. In my mind, like, wow, I wish I was thoughtful and came up with that deep, deep insight. And I'm just on the surface. I'm the guy they call fun. But it's interesting how we look up to each other, but the audience loves us both.
It's all value. Yeah, it's all value. It's different flavors, right? If we ate the same food every single day, it would be boring. Life would be boring, right? It's variety that makes it.
Yeah, goes a long way. There we go.
Yes. Too much Ramon all day. The audience they'd be in a whiplash. Too much Steve. whatever flavor that is. You need them both. You need Ramon. Yeah, we're on our feet. And you need Steve. Listen, everybody, we've heard a great talk. Here's 3 things you can take away. That's not my gift. I have you on jacked up buzzing all day.
We love that. That's great. Well, listen, we want to move on with The Secret. Okay, right? Great book. The Secret movie, right? We're not going to get that deep with that book, but we want to talk about something. And so put a hashtag secret for our community right now. So want to know for you, Ramon Ray, what is your secret to living a fulfilled life? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, probably a few things. I think one, definitely my faith. I happen to be faith in God. I have to give a tribute to that. Those who are not, that's okay. But that's me, since I was asked that question.
Sure.
That's really important to me. I think as far as business and personal life, Steve, I'd like to think that it goes to gratefulness. I am very grateful where I've been and where I am today. I'm very grateful the opportunities that have been given to me. I'm grateful for my family, grateful for just when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, you know what, dang it, I got a box of Pop-Tarts on the table. Wow, that is so cool. So I'm grateful. And I think that maybe propels me forward. That's my secret, I think. I'll take that, Steve, and see what you think, Steve and Cameron.
I think it's great. And I
love a lot on that on this show, for sure.
Yeah. But I love the community right now. If you can, just put in, maybe it's 1 word or 2. You don't have to go crazy. But put in what's your secret to fulfilled life, right? Put something in there. Maybe it's God, maybe it's relationships, maybe it's travel. I don't know what it is, but put something in there, hashtag, and then put in whatever fulfills you. Okay. So appreciate that's great.
And thank you, Stephen Thomas.
I think I share with you a faith, right? And it's super important to me, right? That's, to me, my Heavenly Father's first, then my family, and then obviously business, right?
Where does Cameron fit in there? Heavenly Father, family, business. Cameron's like 7th or 8th. I mean, where? Just so I understand. I'm not trying to cause something here, but just curious, if I may. even though I'm not the interviewer, just want to know.
Well, Cameron's your clubhouse daddy. So maybe there's you gotta put that in the line there.
He went there, Cameron. He just nuclearized the whole thing.
Man. Oh.
But Cameron is my clubhouse daddy. Yes,
they're going to start wondering about these relationships. If you ask in the comments, we'll answer. We got work to do here, boys. We got work to do here. Here, let's go.
Oh my goodness. So good stuff. Well, so we want to move on to 5X, and
sure.
There's a lot of ways we can go with this question, but so type in hashtag 5X. So you're a 5-time serial entrepreneur, and you brought your passion and energy to each one. I'd love to know if that's true, if you have brought your passion and energy to each one, and if so, how?
Sure. I think I'd like to think I've evolved and grown and learned over the years, but I started Family Computer Consulting Services. I started Small Business Summit, which I sold. I started smarthustle.com, which I sold. I now run zoneofgenius.com. I run BWC Daily, and I started smallbiztechnology.com and sold that as well. So yes, over the last few years, I think the biggest passion that I've brought to it is inspiring my team, Steve and Cameron. I think that's the biggest passion I bring, is that I'm not the smartest person in the room. And I'm not saying that because all the good books say that, but I'm learning that. I have a SEO person that's amazing, copywriting person that's amazing, my head of operations that's amazing, my son is an amazing copywriter and mental coach and all those kind of things. So I have some of the best people on my team, and I'd like to think that the biggest gem I give to them is just inspiring them. Guys, here's the vision. By the way, I'm not selling water, people. This water's on my desk. I keep pulling it so I can use it. So we're making water. This is what we want to do. It has to be like this. We want it to be like this. And finding the best people in the world who can bring it together. I don't know how to have to create the top. I can get Cameron. Cameron's the guru of tops on bottles.
Oh, yeah, he is.
He is. That's right. Who knew that? If I can inspire him, Cameron, how's your family? How's your kids? How's your mother? How's your father? Cameron, are you happy? Can I bring you some rice to eat? And Cameron can put his mind on this. We good. I ain't got to know nothing about the top. Cameron knows it. I just got to make him happy.
That's awesome.
I love that. And let me just ask one follow-up question, and then we're going to get into, I want to call attention. First of all, everybody that's been getting into the comments, I can't not acknowledge the fact that we got some great, Stephen says, definitely starting my day off and just, talking about what their sort of their fulfillment and gratefulness, right? Definitely starting off my day in the presence of God, and everything else will fall into place. Yolanda's thankful for her health. Thanks God for her health. Parker says God, family, relationships. Love these comments, guys. And I definitely just want to encourage you, connect with each other. But in addition to treating people well, bringing great people in on the team. I think, the question really goes to, you got a lot going on in your life. And I know for me, sometimes it's a challenge. You talked about your kids. What's your son's name, by the way, Ramon?
Tim.
So you talked about Tim. I'm certainly, if he's contributed to the business, I know you've raised him well. You've done work there. You put in time, you put in effort, you put time and effort into these different businesses to not only get them off the ground, to get through a process of selling them and the heartbreaking, the feelings that go into, because those become your babies too.
Sure.
What sort of keeps you motivated, and what's the elixir, so to speak, that drives you to the next challenge?
Sure. I believe, and I keep saying I believe a lot because, some of these things I'm not sure about, and you learn from others, but I've heard from other entrepreneurs that some of us are just over-indexed. We enjoy pain. So hence, yeah, really, I go at zero, Cameron. No shame how I've started my businesses. And again, this is probably a dirty little secret. Probably many of us do it, but credit cards, lines of credit, start from zero, some debt. Listen, I'll own it all, but this is how I was able to start 5 businesses, sell 3 companies. I don't have any outside investors. It's like, okay, Ramon, it takes $50,000 to do this. Great. Ka-ching, credit card, 10,000 here, whatever it is here. My first event. Went to Roosevelt Hotel, put down my credit card to book the hotel. So what I'm trying to get at is that what moves me forward is, I think, I love that thirst and drive of starting from zero. It just turns me on. Starting from zero, the underdog. Once it's built, and Steve likes a client of mine, and he's like paying me $2.5 million a year. It's boring. I mean, Steve, keep the money coming, but it's boring then. It's like I'm like, let me move on to Cameron, who's giving me $0 a year. You get what I'm playing here, but meaning starting from zero excites it. And I think number 2, I am on a journey as I'm 50 this year, and this is more of a newer thing for me, Cameron, building some generational wealth. We all have a defined time at some point, but I think of my family. I think of me, my wife. I think of retirement, as it were, economically. I think of giving money to others. So that kind of does drive me. What can I do to make a big leap over the next few years so I can lay a solid foundation for my life now and legacy for the future?
I love that. And we have your list of books for everybody that's watching. Ramon's list of best books for small business owners. Always great read at www.zoneofgenius.com /best books. So definitely check that out. Thank you for that. Steve, can you take us out of here? And we do.
Yeah, I just want to check. I want to chime in on one thing.
Please.
Ramon, you said what inspires you what is to inspire others, right? Essentially, I'm kind of paraphrasing.
Yes.
I could so relate to that, in that we definitely, the show here, my mission on this planet is to be the light, uplift, inspire, encourage. And so we were so aligned on that. And that's why, for a lot of reasons, we want to have you on our show here, because we're so well aligned there. Because you know what? Listen, when it's all said and done, and I put a post out, I think today on that, it's not about the things that we have, and it's about the relationships, the people that we've touched, the things that we've been able to do, not the things we bought or own or keep, right? So I'm not going to turn away the money, but I want to use that money to create those things, to enhance those things, not to just hoard,
That's right.
So,
absolutely,
but yeah,
100%, absolutely.
I want to give a special shout out to Toth Event Staffing. Thank you, Cameron, and your company for that. And I know you the company helps fund what we're doing here, at least for a little bit, until we're self-funding and then some. But appreciate you. There you go.
Wow, look at that! You saw that picture? Look at that picture.
Yes.
Toth events don't mess around. Come on now. Come on.
Absolutely.
Great stuff. But
all right, let's count to it. Let's do it. Let's count down. Let's get Steve.
Do we want to talk about next week's show?
The energy bus is pulling away. You got places to go here. So we're going to count down from 5, Ramon. This is what we do. So you put this hand up.
We're going to do the next show.
No, crush it.
I don't know about the next show, right? Next show is Dr. Karen Marie. Yep. Go ahead.
The resiliency formula. So when we're having that credit card shock when you build that business and it's hard, right? The resiliency formula, Dr. Taryn Marie Stetzel coming on next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Next Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. We're excited about that. All right, let's do it.
All right, now we can crush it. Ready? Let's go. 5, 4,
3,
2,
2, 1.
one.
Go out there and crush
Crush
it.
it.
Have an amazing week, everybody. We appreciate you.
guys.
Ramon,
Appreciate
man,
it, Ramon.
thank you
You're
so
awesome.
much for being on the show with us.
Appreciate you, brother.
You always bring the value. You talked about it before we jumped on here, but you always bring it. We appreciate you. I think one of the things that people are going to have to do to really tap into your energy is go and see you wherever you are speaking,
Yes.
because
Agreed.
once you do that, there's just no replacement for the actual in-person. So my folks, if you haven't been following Ramon Ray so far, make sure you do so. Personal branding, entrepreneurism, there's just not a better source for it. So appreciate you, Ramon.
Appreciate you too,
Everybody,
brother.
have an amazing week. We will see you next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.